You saw the conflagration I used to set up my camera, folks. You laugh and laugh, because I am. Alright, so Sunday morning coffee. I did one effort. I had 10 minutes of battery left. Surprise, I fucking rambled incoherently. Alright, so here we go. Sunday morning coffee. Alright, so we're going to talk about a few subjects. My usual subject of I ain't getting no videos up. I'm not putting up a good stream of process and shop videos. We're going to talk about the affirmation of my belief nothing happens by accident. Kind of let you know what's going on around the shop, why I'm actually excited about work again, first time in over a year. And I guess talk about life, love, and happiness. What the hell, right? Seems doable. I've been in nothing less than full tilt burnout for over a year. My partner, I had to drag along the way for over a year now. Not over a year, for about 6 months now. But it had just been this curve. And if you stood back and just looked at where this curve had been headed, I could see how it was ending. A little bit less than a year ago, in the old shop in Johnston, we were back and forth on the notion of stop bringing in little work, focus on the big work that we have in the shop, get it done, get pushed out. And I finally relented, and we agreed upon how we were going to go about it. And we did. We did exactly that, and we worked on what was there for about 3 months, more or less, bringing very little new work. Actually, that only went on about 2 months, I reckon. Anyhow, that being stated, that 2 months of just focusing on what was there almost killed the shop. And I think that's where Jeremy tuned out, really. And it took another 6 months to start digging back out from underneath that, and we're still not out from underneath that. Outlook's better, but not. It's on the top side of bleak instead of in the bowels of everything you could do wrong and everything that could go wrong. We'll call it a high stakes game of chicken with your last dollar. So I learned, shop's always going to have something going on. You're always going to have something behind. You're always going to have something. There's always going to be something. How do you handle that? I handle that by maintaining better relations with my customers, letting them know what's going on. I'm still not good with the communications with other folks. I tend to trap myself in my dungeon, play with life-size Hot Wheels all day, and then I come home to my family and ignore the world outside. That leads us into our video making. It used to be, the first couple of years I was at this, I do my videos at night. I'm going to scooch up a little bit if I can now. I used to do my videos at night when I'd come home. Or if I was a lazy bastard and didn't go to work, first thing in the morning, I'd edit videos in the morning. Or once a month, I'd stay home a day and basically take a day off from the shop and do videos all day. And none of these things are going to happen. None of these things are happening. Editing and paperwork and bookwork and research. There's not a lot of that happening at home. I used to really feel perplexed in this concept, and I trapped myself in this mindset. I had convinced myself this was fact. I get to have one or the other. I get to have my professional life work or my personal life work. And right now I feel I've got both of them certainly on the incline. That's how I feel. But that's what I'd convinced myself of. And at this point, I have satisfactory home life, I have satisfactory shop life, and they're both getting better. So when I get home, that's it. I pretty much hang up my spurs and I'm done with the shop. I'll take the laptop to the shop from now on. I'll edit footage in between painting coats, in between Bondo fills, in between tasks. Or the times I do sit down for half hour, 45 minutes just to sit down and fuck off. When I'm feeling mind frayed. I get mind frayed, I get burnt a little bit, crispy around the edges, and I just gotta sit down and fuck off and not do anything of use. Well, I'll start doing something of use. I'll start editing this footage. So there's that. You know, I've learned a lot of lessons in life just in the last 2 years with Sunday Morning Coffee, 3 years of shooting videos. The growth has been nothing short of amazing and astounding. And in a lot of points, just duh. Why the fuck didn't you ... or why did you ... Sunday Morning Coffee has been a catalog of that growth. It's physical, tangible evidence. If you will it, it will happen. But you have to retrain your brain. I've had to retrain my brain. I've had to get out of my head the haunting thoughts that, you know, for instance, I only get one or the other. My working out well or my personal life working out well. You get to have both. Every human gets to have both. They have to allow themselves. And you get to forgive yourself enough of whatever you've done before or haven't done before. Shortcomings. And shortcomings is that you've got to, let me see, most people will overcompensate shortcomings by jumping on another motherfucker they view with the same shortcomings. And that's not solving anything. You gotta own your fuck ups. You have to examine your fuck ups and you have to ask why. I had a short video a while back I was going to edit and put up, but I'm going to throw this information in here because I can do it just as easily. You know, another aspect of, we're really products of our environment, all of us. You, me, the guy down the street, fuck, as much as I hate to say it, Charles Manson. To some extent, we're products of our environment. Now, if we stop and ask why, and analyze that shit, you can move past it. You can get around certain aspects, okay? And that leads to the factor of coming up in construction, coming up in doing this, coming up in all these things. Well, we'll set aside this short tale for a second later. I had 2 instructors in industrial welding. One of them, I asked him why I had to do this, why it worked this way. He said, that's just how it fucking works, go weld. The other one, he started busting out chemistry, physics, and metallurgy. Tell me why and how. The process, the point being made is, if you do something, any action, any activity, the way you tie your shoes, the way you put on your pants, the way you drive your car, the way you paint, the way you block out a car, the way, anything, doesn't matter what it is, task, no matter how trivial or significant. If your sole reason is, well, that's just how it was shown, if that's your answer for your actions or your motives, you need to inspect those actions and motives. It's how I was shown is a real piss poor cop-out. You never get better than whom has taught you. And as being one who's taught many men valuable professional skills, I was the puppy mill when I was a carpenter. I was the guy that taught the new recruits. I want each and every one of them to be able to go out and do better than I did, and gain beyond what gain insight beyond what I have. If you lean on that's how it was shown, that's how it was taught, you're stifling that. You're not getting anywhere. You're not moving forward. You're never going to get better than who taught you. And that's never any of our goals in life. Shouldn't be, at least. Our propensity for greatness is beyond what we allow ourselves to perceive most of the time. So if your only reason for something is it's how it was taught, shit can that. Figure out why. Now if you can't come up with a better reason, go, well, I tried X, Y, and Z and it didn't work any better than A, B, and C. Okay, now you have a reason. I was taught the best, most efficient method for this. Good enough. That being said, my video footage was actually, I was cleaning out the gutter rails, cleaning the seam seal out of the gutter rails on the 71 Monte Carlo. And I was shown, and I was taught, and we'd see many videos up, taking a little flat tip screwdriver, heating it up with a heat gun, and tapping that out. Being real ginger, careful, gentle, tapping out all that seam seal. Well, I couldn't fucking handle it no more. I got in a spot where nothing worked, nothing fit, and the seam seal was real hard and difficult to get out. Heating it up didn't work. I was fucking up things more than I was helping. I took out my air cutter, my little 3-inch cutoff wheel, and I set it down in there, and I have one without a guard on it. Just a big fucking wheel. I got like a 4-inch or 5-inch wheel on one. I took the guard off. Don't do that, by the way. That's a bad idea. I laid it down in there, and I just very gently worked my way down that gutter and knocked all that seam seal out and knocked all the rust scale that was underneath that seam seal out. And in 5 minutes I was done with that side. The other side took me 2 hours to get cleaned up to a point I could use it. So, if that's how you were taught, and that's the only reason why, say fuck that. Why do I do it that way? There's chances, good chances out there there's a better way to go about it. And I think the exhilaration of discovery is enough to push you forward in that. You can find ways to not cut corners, but chop time expenditure to do a job better, to do a job easier. We've got more gadgets every day. We've got new products out every day. Learn how to use them how they're intended, then figure out what else you can do with them. The excitement comes from last weekend. I worked through the weekend. I repaired a bumper cover on a Lexus for a customer and become a really good friend, Ophir. Ophir's wife has a Lexus, fucked up the bumper cover quarter panel. I took all weekend. I took it apart very slowly, methodically. I broke the bumper cover taking it off because I didn't understand how it went on. And it wasn't badly damaged, but damaged enough. Took a heat gun, pushed some bubbles out where it was deformed. Took strips of bumper cover I replaced off of another car, and a soldering iron, and I plastic welded all the clips back on. I plastic welded the little tab where it slaps in the side of the quarter panel there to the wheel arch, and then you put the screw up. That was ripped when she impacted something in a parking lot. Replaced the tail lens, reflector lens on the bottom. And he came in, and this was his bequest. He wanted me to look at this 2 weeks prior, and I told him what I had to do about how much it would be. He said, well, how about this, my friend? Well, Ophir is, he's from Israel. He's been here for 20 years. He moved here as a young man. Okay, my friend, I tell you what. I bring in the plywood, I bring in the 2x4s, I build your walls. Because we looked at this tinted area that I was painting parts in that wasn't inadequate at best. Dangerous, most likely. Well, no, not most likely. It was fucking dangerous. It wasn't a good environment to try to lay paint in. But I had to get production going. I had to get moving. I had to make the pennies to build the booth. You get this? See where I'm going? So he comes in, boom, boom, boom. Monday, he spent all day. He knocked out those walls. So I got full walls, plywood. I spent the rest of the week wiring up lights, wiring up plumbing in, making the ventilation. I wound up just stretching 7mm plastic across the ceiling and across the door opening. For now. I got materials there. I can build the doors, so I'll get those built next month probably. But why am I excited? That's why, right there. All of it. I had a Ford Focus bumper cover and front fenders I had to paint for a guy. And I've said this before, and Mr. Shue, now, you guys gotta understand, Mr. Shue's just kind of a real world motherfucker. He doesn't candy coat stuff, and he's not gentle about how he puts something. If he thinks you're a fucktard, he'll tell you. If he thinks you're fucking up, he'll tell you. If he thinks you're doing right, he'll tell you. He raised question to my statement. I'm just barely an adequate painter. And it's true. I used to open that motherfucker up all the way and just hose it. And I'm going to go through a video showing how I set my guns and how I avoid fucking up panels anymore. Because it used to be I'd have orange peel and runs on the same panel. It's poor workmanship is what it is. It's unskilled labor is what it is. That was the problem. It was user error, operator error. So I got in there and I laid out this white paint, and then I laid out this clear, and I caused a run on a fender because I overworked the panel. I knew better, but I overworked the panel. And that goes back to I need to get more lighting wired up. I gotta run a sub panel. I got a lot of shit to do to this booth before it's where I want it. But I'm excited. It's isolated. It vents proper. I can see well in there. White's the worst for me to lay down. I always fuck up white. I can't read it like other colors. For me personally, that's just how it is. But what I did lay down, what I didn't cause a run on, the other fender and the bumper cover, they were perfect. They needed nibbed because there's still dust and shit floating around in the paint booth from construction. But they came out perfect. You're not going to get better. If I had done this on a customer's classic restoration, I would have rubbed it gently with 1500 to knock the nibs off, or 2000 to knock the nibs off, buffed it out, and called it a day. By the way, that prevents over a week's worth of work. I just gained, with that little advent of the best environment I've ever had to paint in, I just gained 40 to 60 hours per project that I don't have to expend. And it was 40 to 60 hours I wasn't billing customers because I knew why I had to wet sand, flat sand everything the way I did. Operator error with the weapon and poor environment to paint in. So there you have it. That's why I'm excited. I haven't been excited to go to work in a long time. It's just kind of like I dig my job, but I'm not feeling it. We got some big projects coming in, I think. I've been courting 3 good-sized projects. I'm working this year to become more of the hot rod shop, which will consist of doing suspension, steering, engine building. These are all things that are in my wheelhouse. These are all things I know. I'm not a master at it. I'm not going to build a race car engine with tiny little tolerances. I'm not that good. But a man can build a engine that has 20% more horses than factory spec. All it takes is a clean environment and an eye for detail. And clean environment, there you go, there's the other part. I'm working on that. I've been organizing, reorganizing, sweeping, cleaning. Now I got those hard walls up. I can start moving shit around to utilize my space a little more reasonably. If any of these projects pop through this next couple weeks, the shop will be over full. Another thing is passion. Just copious, gross amounts of passion. And my old partner, Jeremy, for all of the splendor he may have had, that twinkle that he did lose along the way, he's working in this field again, and I'm hoping he found that spark again. I really do, because he could be a master if he wanted to. But he lacks a certain passion for what he's doing. I got a guy right now, and he's an old friend of mine. He's been bugging me for 5 years to start cutting up his car and start rebuilding it well, I never had the room, I never had the time, I never had the patience. He's a character, and you gotta kind of figure out how to work with him, deal with him. Not that he's bad or an attitude or anything like that, just he's a different cat. He's got a heart of gold, though, and passion, buckets of passion. And I cornered him a few weeks ago. I told him, you help me get some stuff squared away, help me get some stuff moved out. I got 3 slots over in the metalwork area. If I can get 2 of those cleaned out, I'll pull your car into one of those spots and we'll start cutting on it together. I said, I'll supply the know-how and the space and the tools. You're going to have to supply some materials and labor. And I'll help with the labor as well. I'll trade you hour for hour. He's been down there, I think 5 out of the last 10 days I've been at the shop. And I was a little concerned. I had this gut feeling if I just put that on the table and let it play itself out. Pushing towards something, pushing people, pushing a circumstance never seems to fully work out. But I want to find a way to keep him. I want to find a way to get him to work full time every day in the shop. And he'll be a champ. This is what he does, this is what he lives, he breathes, he eats hot rods and muscle cars and classics. So, passion's there. And he's willing to listen to me. So, a lot of my, I guess, consternation and burnout and issues. You know, we got some really good projects coming up, I feel. I got a really good helper. All I got to do is get that volume rotating for the cash flow and moving. Not only can he supply where he's making a living through the shop, he's making the shop money, which has to happen. You know, you bring anybody into a shop, they're there to make your life easier and make you money, make the shop money. Those are the 2 things that have to happen. If they just make your life easier but they cost you money, they're not making your life easier. If they can make you money but they make things difficult, that doesn't work out. But with a shop, the making of the money is the paramount. This is something I don't wish to continue as an expensive hobby, but I wish to create a full career out of it. I feel as though this year, 2015, I've started over. We got moved into a space, got where we were operable but not optimal. And then my partner quit and moved on to other things. And I find myself looking around and re-examining a lot of things. So, here's to the new year, here's to what's going on, here's to all of you for watching. Cheers and thank you. All the advice, you know, wow, shit I learned from you guys. So, yeah, that's Sunday morning coffee in a nutshell. I'll take the old laptop in, I'll get some videos put together so I get more videos up and have a steady stream. I'm courting these 3 nice projects, so we're going to see how those go. 2 of them I'm really excited because the customers are passionate about their cars and they're cool people. One of them never even spoke to the guy. It's been correspondence over text message, but it's an engine build. It's a suspension sprucing. We're going to spruce up the suspension to OE, just better than OE spec. We're going to build a 351M. You know, instead of speccing out at 160, I'm going to try to get 2 2.25 out of it for horsies. Just something that's a nice cruiser for the guy. Something that's not going to drop the vacuum pressure so the stock carb and components don't work anymore. Or we got to put headers on it. Just something nice to cruise in. He wants a nice cruiser out of his Ranchero. So those are the projects I'm kind of looking at. The fellow with the Ranchero, I'm excited. I haven't done an engine build in a year. I'm ready to start doing more engine builds and more mechanical on these. I got the space to do it. Why not? Folks, have a good one. I'm out.